I don't know, what is that? Like, it seems like a lot of our age group, people are changing, people are growing up. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, no, it's super, I don't know so much as changing, but I feel like for so long, like generations prior have just kind of like molded, to like where we were at. And I feel like amongst our friend group, like we're just trying to make something different happen, a different outcome, like more happiness and less like structure. And like, that's my personal opinion on it. We're growing up, but we're seeing that we're like not growing up happy. So we're like, all right, we need to be growing up happy and like in love with life and in love with what we're doing.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I feel that too. It's kind of, it is growing up, you know, but I don't want, you know, old people to be like, oh, finally these kids are growing up. I think what it is Zeke, will you chill out? My mom's cat is in here just literally just having a ball with himself. He's having a fight with somebody. Yep, there he goes.
Oh my gosh.
I wonder if it's on I bet you that this one is recording it. So as we're trying to have this serious conversation about.
And he's just behind us.
Hilarious. All right, we're going to keep going. So it seems like our age group, we grew up with technology. Like, it was just growing up just doesn't mean the same thing as it does for our parents' age. Like when they turned 18, 19, that's when they grew up, so to say, or it's like, okay, let's start doing what we need to do, which is, picket fence, get a house, 401k, all these things. That's a huge generalization, but it seems like our group is finally realizing, okay, so that doesn't work for us. We know that. Mm-hmm. We know that we're not happy doing what our parents have done. There's a lot more opportunity. It seems like we can kind of know more broader subjects, and we're finally able to figure out what our growing up, I guess, is. Yeah. I suppose like how do we grow out of this exciting technology? Like, this is who we are. This little subculture.
This little system.
And expand, yeah.
Yeah. Which I think it's like cool that we can differentiate like different eras. Like, you know, like we're at this point where, like, I don't know, like for myself personally, that like I'm not, you know, holding anything against like what has created the life that we have now, mm-hmm. but better, like more so trying to just do better for what is yet to come, if that makes sense. So it's cool that we like are I'm really bad at
You're not bad at all
elaborating and talking sometimes, but
no, it's totally fine. It seems like as we get jamming more, we'll just be able to just kick it off. It's funny, I notice when I'm talking on the podcast, I feel like I stop myself, my long rambling thoughts a little bit more, because I'm like, oh yeah, people are listening to me talk, and I'm probably not talking about shit, you know. But it's funny. It's just we're just talking, you know. It's funny that we have that little self-conscious, like, oh, I'm not good at saying what I need to say. I know. It's so silly, but yeah. Luckily, I feel like if there's some listeners that are gonna understand, you know, and listen as we're talking and trying to explain ourselves, I feel like these are definitely the listeners that'll do so.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. If not, fuck you, man. If you're listening, fuck you. In your car, I'm going to turn that up to just like super loud too. So fuck you. Just vibrate their subs. Oh my gosh. Did it shut off for you? That's funny. Definitely. I wonder if I overloaded the amp. This is a new little...
Yeah, that was a little...
So you can hear me now?
Yeah. You just...
That's super funny.
That was the ultimate fuck you right there.
Yeah.
They're like, no, fuck you, bro.
Yeah, I'm just... It just re-fucked me. So what happened is, as I was just going fuck you into my mic, my new little Amazon headphone port thing overloaded itself. But
short circuit.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, but so Jaycie, I'm really happy to have you on here and have just like real conversations that anybody who's listening can have value from. We've known each other for quite a while. I mean, do you remember how we met at all? I don't remember. Just through friends, maybe?
I want to say probably at a party at your house, maybe. I don't know. I known Dyer since I used to live with Zach. And so I known him through, what is it? I started coming, because I'm from, around this area, Toodle. And I started like partying super young, so like 16. I came into the Kelso, Longview scene, which was like new culture to me, from living out in the woods to
like you only know 30 people at least.
And then through that, just meeting, I think through Zach specifically, because I think that's how we met, but I don't,
I think it's how a lot of people, because I was roommates with Zach. It's cool. I feel like the people that we know, like our age group, because we're a few years apart, but like all of us hung out. We know so many people. I feel like we know so many of the similar people. I was with lunch with Shaylee's mom yesterday, and we were talking about, she had her 50th birthday party. She was telling me that, people from her childhood came, and friends she was friends with when she was 16 and 15, all this cool stuff. And I asked her, I said, did you like really get many new friends after high school? Like, so after high school's done, they didn't have cell phones and Facebook and MySpace and stuff. So it's like who they know is who they grew up with. And then, I mean, think like we didn't know each other in high school, I don't think.
No.
I mean, all the people that we know, like all the people that I met from living with Dyer and vice versa, it's something new. Like we know probably hundreds more people than our parents did.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's cool, but it's also, I think that it was such an exciting thing when it happened, right? Being off social media now, I realized that, like, man, it's hard to keep up with that many people.
Yeah.
So, we're in an interesting time with knowing so many people.
It's also, I feel like with being on social media, it's a lot easier to make more, and not always the case, but like more of like a synthetic relationship. It's still friendly, it's still cordial, it's still nice, you care about that person, but at the end of the day, it's like, there's not real raw conversations, because 90% of their life through social media, and it's like such a weird, I don't know, like our parents didn't have that. They had made these real raw connections that they had to maneuver through as a child, and like take that with them through older age. And not to say that I haven't made real raw connections through social media as well, but it's very far and few in between. And so like that's like, there's not one person, I think, from high school that I went to school with that I'm still friends with currently.
Yeah, that's strange too, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's I mean, it's got to be. It's because we obviously our environments, like we just don't hang out with the same people, but it's because we change, because we grow, we adapt. I mean, I think that's a huge thing. Obviously, our parents know that they change from when they are childhood, but I think that what our generation is really realizing is that we change more than once. Like we really kind of grow out of friends sometimes, like every couple of years even.
Sometimes it sucks, but it's necessary.
Yeah, it's as much as we want to hang on to all those friendships, it's not about like letting it go. It's about just like not being so invested in other people's lives and knowing everything about them, and like so like I don't really know what you've been up to, but instead of me knowing on social media or whatever, and vice versa, we just took a walk before this podcast and just like caught up, and it was just so great. Like I find a lot more value in stuff like that. I know not a ton of people have a lot of extra time to just go for a walk with their friend, so I'm very blessed with that. But I don't know, I think just noticing stuff like that is very beneficial. That's something that anybody could benefit from. Like if you feel like you're not feeling a ton of strong connections, anybody listening now, if you feel like you're not feeling strong connections with your friends and the people around you, like are you hanging out with them too much? Are you seeing them too much? Are you texting them every waking second? Like maybe let them experience some other shit, and then you go experience some other shit, and you guys meet together next week and talk about it, or yeah, I don't know, I think it feels better that way, right?
Yeah, well, and also I feel like a big portion of that, or a majority of that, is not having, like you were saying earlier when we were on our walk, is like there's not a lot of present people. Like we're so drawn to like what's going on around us. What is the word that I'm looking for? cyberly, is that even a word?
Yeah, the digital world.
Yeah,
right.
we're like so tuned into like what.
It's funny, anything you say in that position is like, sounds like some sort of movie scenario. Like whatever you say there is just stuck with a movie scenario.
But like we are so, what was I saying?
Sorry, so we're so caught in the digital. We're so caught up in the
Yes,
technology,
we're so caught up
not
in
present.
that. Yeah, and I find that sometimes, like, I try and, you know, make it a point that, like, and not that I'm high and mighty for doing this. I just try to make it a point.
You try, though.
When I'm with somebody, to make sure that I'm present, to make sure that I'm aware, to make sure that I, like, am stuffing away, you know, anything that's going to give me a distraction to what the other person's doing or what we are communicating about. And that's, you know, it's not always the case for me, but I find that, you know, there's a decent amount of people who don't take the time to be present in like what's right in front of you, like the person that's in front of you, or the person that's communicating with you or talking with you, or you know, like,
well, isn't it crazy that we were talking about how we didn't realize that we're not doing that for a long time. Like being present is so anybody, so think about any listeners, if that seems overly obvious or that seems like it doesn't make sense to you, like, of course I'm talking to the person. Where are your thoughts when you're talking to somebody? Are you thinking about something else? Are you thinking about a judgment? Are you engaged in listening? Are you waiting for your turn to speak? Are you looking at your phone? These things, like, it's not like these are rules and your life suddenly gets better when you do these things, but you notice how often you weren't doing these things when you make it a point to try to do them. So maybe just next time you have a conversation, next time you're talking to somebody, like, are you standing up straight and looking them in the eyes? Is your phone in your hand even? Are you, what's your body language? You know, just being present in conversations is it's weirdly not easy to do, right?
Of course it's weirdly not easy to do, but it's also like more monumental than you think.
It was a flavorful word. I like that. It's good.
Yeah, but to somebody else, like, you never know, like, how much somebody just needs, like, your presence and, like, your time and your effort and your energy, even just for 5 seconds or 10 minutes or an hour, you know.
Right.
And that's, like, more so, not more so, but, like, more what I try to bring aware to myself is because, like, you know, like, I'm sure you've been in this position, but I know personally myself, I've been in a position where I've, like, paid attention to, or wanted somebody to just give me, like, a certain fraction of a time frame, just because I was mentally not in a spot where, like, I wanted to be.
Like, I need you, just.
Yeah. And not getting that reciprocated, which, you know, that happens, that's where we're at, but.
Right. But if you could recognize it though, like if you can see the times when you weren't doing it, you can, you know, start to notice. You even have sympathy when other people aren't doing it. Like, you notice if other people aren't paying attention to you, you can say, like, oh, okay, that's the thing that I do too. Like, it's okay. Maybe you can do something to have them pay more attention, or if it's a close relationship, you can actually have a conversation with them. You know, it's like Shaylee and I have conversations all the time. You know, if she's on her phone, she's actually able to notice, like, oh shoot, okay, you know what? I was kind of just slacking off on my Snapchat for a few as we were talking, and she gets herself present. Like, I notice that stuff now.
Yeah.
I think that's something we can all do. It's just once you notice, it opens up this
to
cool
bring
gateway.
Awareness to it.
Right. Bring awareness.
Yes.
Have you, I mean, my life has changed drastically from meditation and yoga and stuff. Have you gotten into meditation at all? Mm-hmm. Ooh, tell me about your meditations.
Meditation. So I think when you were, like, jumping off social media, you were, like, reaching out for, mind you, how long ago was that? It's been a while. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been, I mean, I feel like kind of a year. It's almost about a year. August 10th was, like, my biggest, like, when I had, like, a moment, you know, in my head that something flipped.
Okay.
But it, like, led to, I think, probably, like, for the next 3 months, I probably deleted social media. So let's say
January?
Around January.
Okay. So I think during that time frame between, like, August and December, you had, like, made it a point to be like, hey, what are some things that, like, helped you with,
I forgot I did this.
Yeah. Hey, well, but you did. You're like, what are some things that you do and like that help you? And I started with the app on my phone just because I was like not in a good headspace at all whatsoever. Like I was like totally at my wit's ends, not happy. And so much so to where I literally was like one of my many therapists that I've ever had, which I'm like all for talking about, being open about going to therapy. Love it.
Good for you. Yeah.
But so she was just like, it's at some point like you have to really try, and something that you could do is like meditate. And I was like, how am I gonna sit here and like not...
You're like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm really anxious and you're telling me to just chill out, right?
Like,
that's kind of how your brain goes.
Yeah. And so I'm like, how am I gonna sit here and just like breathe and like relax? And I know I like seem like a very low mellow person, but my brain is literally always looping, like so high speed, fast paced. It's really hard for me to even like go to sleep at night. Like it takes me so long. So
there's so many people that are like this. So many. And if you're like this, if you feel crazy all the time, that's okay. You're just human. We can figure it out.
Yeah.
Meditation helps.
Yes, meditation helps for sure. I totally had to utilize that to basically just dial everything in, and it's been a pretty easy process to get into. Just making it kind of routine, and just kind of like guided meditation is where I started, and then went from guided meditation to just kind of like you listen to music, just like mellow music. It's just YouTube's my best friend on that aspect.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
And it's cool to like not be in my own head for 10-15 minutes, just as long as the video, or the music or whatever. And it's really made a turning point to where I can not only take those 10 or 15 minutes, but also like learn how to manage and breathe through everyday life functioning,
Yeah. So I want to try to describe to people, like, I want people who have tried meditation and think they failed, and I want people who have never tried meditation but they think they know something about it, because that I would fall into that second category. I would be like, yeah, dude, like, I'm not a monk, so chill. Like, oh, you meditate, cool. Well, I have ADHD, so if I sat still, I'd go crazy. That's literally something I would say. So, so your therapist suggested meditation, and so you just downloaded like Headspace. Was that the app you said?
Yeah, it was.
Headspace. I have tried that app. I liked it too. It's I think was that the one? He has like an Australian voice.
Yeah.
It's just the most delightful voice this man has. I think it was this.
No, I totally know what you're saying. It was. He is very mellow. Very, very mellow.
So when you listen to, if you never listened to a guided meditation, they kind of run you through. They have some basics of what you really do. So they run you through kind of what your thoughts are doing. It's not just the act of sitting there and something magical pops out of your butt. Like it's the act of watching your thoughts and realizing that you aren't your thoughts. It's mindfulness meditation is what it's pretty much of what it's called in the Western world. So you did Headspace. Do you remember like your first time with meditation? Like, do you remember how it went at all?
Yeah, it was like, I remember being in this house in a basement, actually. I lived in a basement.
Shout out to basements.
With a very similar gray walls and paneling.
Shout out to gray walls.
So funny. Gray walls and basements.
These were actually wood walls, but I painted them.
Yeah, that's nice.
Of course.
But I remember, like, how when you're sitting, like most of the times stereotypically you're supposed to be like sitting while you're meditating.
Of course, yeah.
I like cannot do that. I'm like the total. I love laying down. I love just completely relaxing and just letting like my entire. So I literally just laid in bed and I.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was super
See,
perfect.
dude, and that's not doing meditation wrong. Like, that's not wrong. Like, even if the video says sit on your butt, it's like if you're not sitting on your butt, it's not like, oh, I fucked this up already. I've ruined his meditation. It's you can lay down. So you laid down for your first time.
Yeah. and I just played this guided. It's like, I think there's like certain levels in there. It's been a long time since I've used it, but there's like certain steps, and so it was like level 1 or step 1, and you play it, and this guy comes up, and I'm just sitting here like, oh boy, here we go. I'm gonna sit here and
feel like a weirdo, but
yeah, no, you do, honestly. It feels so weird, like the first time you're just like sitting there, because you're solely focused on like yourself at that point, and not like so much stuff that's surrounding you. You're literally dialed into what is going on with you, and it's like so weird when, for me personally, I'm so like aware, you know, like of other people and what they're doing in their lives, and what I can do to benefit myself and their lives, you know, things like that. So it was like really weird for me to like turn everything inward and be like, okay, oh shit, this is like, all right, here we go. I gotta.
My thoughts are crazy now that I'm looking at them.
Yeah.
you know, or it's kind of funny when you sit down, you know, you think that there's like intention, like you have to think how to not have a thought. That's what we think we have to do. Like you sit down and you're like, wait, don't have a thought.
Yeah.
But that's not what you do here. With meditation, when you sit down and you can download the app Headspace, there's plenty of apps. I'm really just trying them. So far, the ones that I've tried quite a few, and they've been honestly all great. Like they're great starters. It's all that stuff is at your fingertips, like the YouTube, whatever, guided meditation, whatever. You sit down and when thoughts come up, you don't identify with them. So it's like my leg itches. You can say, oh, that's a thought about my leg itching. And then you return to your breath or whatever the instructor is telling you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the essence of meditation, right? That's the thing. It's like for a long time, I remember, I don't know if you had this experience, but I was like, there's no way that this is all meditation is. Like, it's not just watching your thoughts. Like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you have that? Did you were you shocked at the simplicity of meditation?
Yeah, just the concept of like really having to make it a point to just like write it out, but also like breathe through what you're thinking and how do I elaborate this? What you're thinking, what you shouldn't be thinking, I guess. And even when you like quote unquote shouldn't be thinking something, like you still have to write that thought out, and like understanding that concept of like we are human and it's okay to have these thoughts, but it's crazy that like we don't simplify it that much. Like we totally expand our thoughts and our negative thoughts more so than our positive thoughts.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
We dissect the crap out of them.
I know.
Like, they are us.
It's
They're
so
like,
weird.
It's I always compare it. This may make sense to you. I try to crazily explain concepts like this to Shaylee, but I always talk about our maze, like the maze of what we're dealing with right now, like our emotions, whatever the situation is that's happening that we're so stressed about is just a dead end in our maze that we're in. But the thing about the maze is you can realize that you don't even have to be in the maze. So that's what meditation does for me, is instead of trying to sit down and solve all these problems and like, why am I this way? Why am I this way? I can realize that I can be a layer above this maze and not even be in it, and watch myself try to solve those thoughts. And be like, oh, I don't have to be in there in that maze to watch my thoughts. And so for me, that kind of like with that analogy, I feel like it expands. I suppose it just helps me not identify with not only the dead ends in the maze, but the fact that I am not the maze.
Yeah, no.
If that makes sense. It's kind of confusing, of course, but
makes sense. You're just kind of like, instead of going in blindly, like you're rising above it, and you're just like bringing yourself to this point where you're like, all right, this is who I am. I'm not this person that's blind and lost or negative or running to a dead end or failing. You're like, I'm this person who is just maneuvering through life, and I'm
exactly.
I totally get it.
I'm glad you get it. Yeah, good. So okay, meditation. I just want to like beat it to a pulp. So for
meditate.
right, meditate. So for me, yeah, it turned into a daily thing for me. But so you started with the app. I'm sure you probably have some sort of like daily practice, right?
Not right now. I mean, like.
Well, so what about mindset? Like, do you have like it's like a everlasting mindset that I gave to you, right? And even that.
Yes. Yeah. So there's like. I started with Headspace, and then I kind of grew from there to like YouTube and other stuff like that. But now it's just I'm at a point where like I can differentiate my thought process. You know, that's kind of
beautiful.
Like what that gave me. And not that I'm always aware and always am on my of course, like I'm human. I'm gonna
that's the thing that meditation taught you is that you're not always like it helps you sympathize with yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
But I'm definitely at a point where like I can say a scenario that happens it's just like negative instead of like choosing to go down a negative path or a negative thought process. I'm just like whatever. Very cool.
Like that's a possibility. That's a dead end in the maze that I could take, but like I'm not even gonna go into that maze. You know?
It's totally which I think that's super cool. I like haven't really brought awareness to that even, so thank you for pointing that out. But that's definitely what I've like grown into through meditating, even just the last 2 years I want to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you like now that so like let's just generalize like meditative mindset, let's just call it that, like just kind of the act of looking at the fact that your emotions and your actions could be biased, are that we're not always perfect, but that's okay. Just observing our thoughts rather than being our thoughts, this mindset. Like it happened for you like 2 years ago or so, or not 2 years?
It's more recently.
Recent?
Slowly started the process like 2 years ago. So it wasn't like an immediate, like, it was some work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So I think that's what people need to hear, right? Is that like, and that there's parts of that where you almost dread. You're like, well, great, like, cool. I don't have 2 years till I can get better. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
But that's how life goes. Like, but it's if you just take one step towards like you just sat down and you're like, I don't know how to meditate. It's dumb. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do it though. If you just take the things in your life and just face at them, maybe it's gonna take a couple of years, and we're always working ourselves.
But that's it's so funny that you say that. That was, I think, one of the biggest, when I literally had like one of my therapists look at me and be like, it takes work to be happy. And I literally was just like, I think about that every day. That was like over 2 years ago. And I'm like, every time somebody's like, man, I'm so sad. And I'm like, man, I really care for you and I'm really sorry. But like, I make it a point to be like, it does take a lot of work to be happy. So if you genuinely like want to put in the work and the effort, like you're not gonna wake up one morning and be like, man, I'm so happy with life.
Takes
everything's
work to be
great.
happy. I like that. Yeah, it's so funny because it's like no shit, right? Of course we know that. But then sometimes you can be in a moment where you're susceptible and you're ready to hear it. It's like you had that moment with your therapist, like where you like you heard it and you're like, oh God. And do you think at that moment it was probably like hard hitting, right? You hear this thing and you're like, damn, that's right.
Called me on my shit. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I think and so like these podcasts are stuff like that too, like which is it's gonna open up this can of whoop-ass, which is just I'm super pumped about. But I think by having more upfront conversations like this and talking about like our faults, as friends, I hope that it can open up conversations between friends, not just on podcasts, but like why not have situations where our homies are our counselors and saying like, hey man, you've not been doing what you want to do, and I know you better than that, but we can't have those conversations because our friends just are like, they think they're being attacked personally and whatever, but there's a lot of people who love you, and not that everybody's opinion is always valid. Like sometimes people just don't know what you're going through, but I don't know. I think could you see like our world, let's say next 5 years, like where we can just call each other out like this, like, or not like this, but just say
everybody on podcast calling each other. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, if you had a podcast and you ain't calling each other out.
No, but I do. I already see it already, like amongst a decent amount of it, and it could just be that I like love being around people who like to call me on my shit.
Right.
But, you know, and vice versa, because like, I'm not afraid to sit down and be like, hey, this is what's up. But I do totally see it evolving into that kind of like friendship level where we can just like sit down, mainly because like there's a lot of broken people.
Dude,
and there's a lot of broken people who don't know what to do or which way to go. And then there's like a decent amount of people who have gone through like a situation or a scenario, or I don't really know like what to call it, where you just kind of I think evolving.
I mean, waking up is what the internet calls it, but like I feel like I'm gonna get spammed. Like
yeah.
I feel like the first comment on my YouTube is gonna be woke AF.
Yes.
Or something. These brothers is woke or something. I don't know.
But I like to say a shift. Like you just shift into like this person who is beneficial to those surrounding you and yourself, especially. But and so I feel like as being one of those persons, I mean, not to be like,
you are one of those persons.
I am one of those, but
you are.
Well,
you're on the Junkyard Love podcast. You are. And pretty much. Hey, by the way, if you're on the Junkyard Love podcast, I plan on going places, so you're going to have a responsibility whether you're here, whether you want to be here or not.
Hey, that's all right.
I feel like I want to like just make a bunch of pressure on people, be like, hey, this is really important.
This is very important.
But it's just me like smoking weed or something, like just doing nothing. I'm playing with Play-Doh on my podcast. Make this so important.
But
sorry.
Or like I remember you used to have that little like skateboard. I used to have it. Oh yes, you do. Perfect. That's just what you do when you're.
I'm devastated. I don't know where it's at.
Oh no! Well, I'm sorry I brought
Yeah.
it to your attention.
We'll pause the podcast so I can get my tech deck. No.
Yes, tech deck. That's what they're called.
I mean, there's even people who want to watch tech decks. People
Yeah.
want to watch people skateboard.
Start a YouTube for that. Just.
There's plenty. There's little kids who are famous for tech decking.
And I bet you they have their entire college paid for.
Probably. That's the world we live in.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cool.
No, I know. Props to the parents who made it a point to make their children's college and success through YouTube. Like,
It'd be weird. Imagine the shit that you were into when you were 7 being how you make $1 million. Like, what were you into when you were 7 or 8 years old or some shit?
I don't even know.
Like,
I think I baked a lot.
like easy bake ovens is.
No, like
you baked.
Yeah.
A lot. Real baking.
Yeah.
See, that would have been actually frugal. That's like the worst example of. I'm like, what if you did Polly Pockets forever?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't really know.
Do you still bake?
Yeah, I mean, for my own pleasure, but.
I mean, that's still. I mean, dude, food tastes better when it's you put love and time into it, and you spend time making it.
Yeah, it's mostly out of a box anymore, but.
Right.
It still tastes good, so it's fine.
Yeah, so you just eat it right out of the box, huh?
Yep.
You just open it up and eat it out of the box. She used to be a baker as she grew up, and now she just puts her hand into the box of brownie mix and eats it.
Yeah,
So
just the powder. That's it. I'm just kidding.
I have dry mouth thinking about it.
Yes. But yeah, no, I could not imagine being 7 years old and creating a success off of my interest. How cool would that be?
I mean, it'd be cool, but it'd be a lot of pressure. Like, think about, like, okay, I'm 7, I just did this thing. All right, I'm done with that. Like, now that I'm 14, I really gotta, what's my next stage in life? Like, these little kids have, like, they've just done the thing. Like as a kid, all you want is a quest. Like, you just, like, if you just give me a quest, I will follow this quest.
Yeah.
It'll be my destiny. Like, I want to believe in something. And, like, we all have, we're like, I want to be a firefighter or astronaut or whatever they have you write down in school. And, like, imagine actually getting, there's kids who get that. Like, they're like, I want to review Hot Wheels on YouTube.
I want to play Minecraft for 6 hours in front of the camera.
I don't know if it's good or bad to give kids exactly what they want. Like, in that situation.
Oh boy. Depends on the person, I guess. Depends on the child.
I mean, the child could be great though, but think about again, this person has to now later on in life, they have to be 20 years old. They have to be a 21-year-old. They have to, like, I don't know. I always think about
playing Minecraft still.
Yeah, or like they've already done it, like they've already like lived, or they've already decided who they were.
Yeah.
Like I went through so many stages growing up. Like I would, whatever I would do or try to be to battle the personal issues that I was going on. Like
I guess that would be pretty depressing. Once you reach like 21, you're like, oh, I was successful 14 years ago when I was 7. So what the fuck do I do with my life now?
I know.
Yeah, that would be a...
When it would solidify whoever the hell you think you are when you're 7.
Yikes.
Like, I'm Lego Master.
Oh my God.
And even when you're 25, you're like, I'm still Lego Master. What do you mean, Mom? Don't you remember?
And she's like, fold your clothes, fold your laundry. And you're like,
when are you moving out? When are you moving out? I'm a star, Mom.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I totally get it. That would be almost a crisis. Maybe not, though.
Yeah, I think not always getting what you want is such a blessing.
It's a learning experience for sure.
You don't get to learn much if you always get what you want.
Yeah. No, I feel like going through all of the hardest in most like through my lifetime, like all of those were definite learning experiences. Like I wouldn't have evolved or shifted into this person that I am today without having like trial and error and like, being freaking negative $35 in my account for a stupid overdraft fee.
Man, been there plenty of times.
Yes.
Sometimes they just keep coming out and you're like, I am negative $200 because 4 things came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's weird that so even casual conversations about being broke can only be, it seems like even that in our normal conversation is always like a joke. You make a joke out of like, oh, I'm poor or whatever. I'm broke. But it's, dude, if you're going through financial shit, like, just so you know, everybody else going through financial shit, like, the people who have it all together, like, aren't trying to walk around saying that they have it all together. It's like, I don't know. I think my friend, me and my friend Scott, we were talking about, we grew up together, and we were talking about the mindset behind finances, like, we were both like, man, we both kind of always sucked at money. Like, it's just been this thing, but I think realizing that the person to your left and the person to your right, like sometimes they have money issues too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like it's okay to talk about them. Like you don't have to like demean yourself. You don't have to feel bad, whatever. I
think that's a part of life and that's a part of growing. Because like without having those like failures financially, especially being a young adult, like life's hard, shit's expensive anymore. And so like without having those struggles, like I don't think that I would have the drive to like do more for myself financially or do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's like totally normal, like I'm being negative in my bank account as a 20-year-old or 21-year-old or back whatever, like that's fine. Like
but did you isn't it funny how like often, well, me anyway, I'd feel like such a fucking failure sometimes when I was broke. Like if I didn't have any money, I would just be like, gosh, like, dude, like I need to get my shit together. Like I'd always feel like I don't have my shit together. Like that's what that means. Just a bunch of money in my account means I don't have my shit together. Yeah.
No, I definitely was low. Like you feel pretty low about yourself. You feel like, okay, well, I mean, this is something that I can acquire. What am I doing that like is making this not easy for me? But it's not easy. That's the thing though. It's like you feeling that low, just like that's what I mean. Like that gives me the drive to just like get my shit together.
Exactly.
But I mean, I don't know.
So that's the thing
depressing.
It is. That's the thing is like it's okay. Like, but you got to look at these things as like, yeah, it's okay. Like I don't have to hate myself, but like I don't have money, but I want money. Okay, what can I do differently? Like not what has the world done wrong to me that's given me not the opportunities that I want for money. Yeah. It's what can I do differently? Like when you have those, because I think of, like rich kids or kids who like somehow have money, like coming to them. It's something like, if that's the case for you, that's awesome. Yeah. But if you never learned what it is to not have it, and what it is to, I guess, learn the hard way. It's something that like this learning experience people don't actually always get.
No, which is more power to you if you can go through life that way and come out a, you know, decent human being and
Oh, for real.
still like be, you know, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's like when you really have to grind for it, that's almost like when you reach that level of success though, like when you have to grind for it, and not saying I'm there, like,
Right.
but reaching that level or that point of success after you've grinded for it for so long, after being so depressed because you're negative in your bank account, is like such a humbling feeling.
It is.
So it's like, you're depressed if you are like broke right now and you're depressed, like just know, like, let that fuel you and drive you for
Right.
that humbling experience, you know, when you reach your goal or destination financially, like.
Yeah, exactly. Our pains, like our pains and our issues, like where okay, I'm broke, like this is an issue that I need to solve. That's something to solve. And when you see that as something you could solve, then that's how your life gets better. Like it's like, you're like, oh, my life couldn't get better. I don't know how to make my life better. Okay, we'll take a look at your issues and start solving them individually, you know. Say like, money is a big issue for me. What's going on with my money situation? When you look at it and you start just trying to solve it, that's one step closer to getting better. It's just one little thing.
Yeah. I feel like even putting out, like, I'm like, I post a lot, like you vlog on your Junkyard Love, right? So, like I write, like I'll post a picture and I started writing like really
Perfect.
long, intricate, like, just because I personally am really uncomfortable in seeing myself.
Oh, I am too. I'm working on it. I'm trying not to hate myself.
You have the courage for it.
I'm trying. Yeah, I do. I got it.
So props to you. But I blog everything. So I posted the other day about like after hitting a huge milestone in my life, I like very shortly became very sad afterwards, and due to not having goals and ambitions, because goals are legitimately this is a totally.
No, I would love to cover this area too.
But I sat down with my boyfriend and just like had a conversation and was talking, and it was like, and he felt very similar, which he's not like a very sad person. And so we just like sat down and had this conversation of like, okay, what are we doing? What do we need to change? What's happening? And he's like, I think that we just
That's brave, yeah.
Yeah, we were just like so excited to hit this huge milestone for us that we didn't plan anything after. And so we just kind of like hit this wall, had this breakthrough, and then there was like nothing to follow that. Nothing, no goals to hit, nothing exciting. I mean, it was exciting, but like,
of course,
realistically, like, so we sat down and like made it a point to like continue making like goals, no matter what it is, big or small, like make a list of, like, what do we need to do next? And that's like really been like a turning point for me, just because I work so hard and on being happy all the time, and that comes with having goals and having ambitions, and like we have something to work for, you have something to be happy about.
Yeah, because how else do you gauge your happiness? Like how else do you know how you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, hey, like, how you doing, man? Like, we never know how to answer that anyway. Maybe it's because we really don't know.
Yeah.
Like, how you doing working towards your goals? I don't know what my goals are, so I don't know what I'm working towards.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, we're not living to just live as long as we can. We should all be living towards our own virtues, our own goals, our own values.
Yeah.
So when you, if you're cool talking about it, when you and Jace, like, how did this conversation go? Like, I imagine there's probably plenty of people who, there's a lot of relationships where a lot of people, it's hard to get on the same page, where we're so layers deep in our arguments or our pittiness that we don't really realize that we're doing. Sometimes when these conversations start to come up, they get ended, it seems like a little too quick with our emotions. I know I've been there. Shaylee's been there, in certain situations. How did this conversation go? So it's like, hey, like, I don't know what it is. I'm not feeling super, super great. Like, what could we be doing differently? Or
I think it's started with, I'm just a very like sensitive human being. I'm very emotional, and I'm
with you, girl.
Yeah, yes. And like that, it's a very weird position to be in, a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very expressive, and I'm very like, I will write out my emotions, and I will be so raw and so real to an extent. Like, I'm not so extreme to where it, hurts my everyday life.
Yeah.
But
you are yourself, and yourself as an emotional person.
Yeah, and that's totally okay. And I'm coming to terms with that like that's just who I am, and that's like
emotional people shout out.
Yeah, of course, actually. But so going through that, I made it I'm just very expressive, so I'm very low energy, just very symptomatic of just being in just a little depressive funk, which still happens. As happy as I am, that still is a battle I have to fight through every so often, and I'm okay with that too.
It's never done.
Yeah, no. And
you learn how to fight.
I think it was probably like a few days of just like going through the motions of like getting up, going to work, coming home. Like, when I stopped making dinner, because I cook, I cook often.
You love cooking,
Yeah. I don't know about love, but I love eating.
Well, you like baking, so yeah. I like the end of cooking.
Yeah. But and I just love a really home-cooked meal. So that was something, I grew up with my dad. And so that's something that I just learned from him. So a home-cooked meal.
It has meaning, it's not just the food.
Yeah. And so when I stopped making home-cooked meals, Jace is like...
He's like, woman, make me.
No, but more so he knows that.
Of course, yeah. So he knew something was wrong. Like, go on.
Sorry.
Don't apologize.
He made it a point, and I'm just sitting on the couch or watching Netflix. I'm not talking because I just kind of shut down. I just go within myself and dig deep and figure out what I need to do. And so he just made it a point to say hey man, what's up?
Yeah, I was something's wrong.
I don't know, I'm just really sad. I've just been sad for a few days and just trying to power through it, because
dang.
And he's like, what? Why are you sad? And I was just I don't know. I'm just, I haven't figured it out yet, because sometimes you don't know where it's coming from.
I think that sentence right there, I just want to pause on that, because I think for me, a lot of me getting to a point where I can explain myself to Shaylee a little better, because when I was very depressed and very not having great thoughts, there was literal years where she didn't know. She did not know that what I was going through, any anxiety attacks, and in those situations, she would want to understand, and I would just shut down. And so she would do what Jay said, is what's going on? What's wrong or something? And I would just shut down. So I just want to point out, it's great that you're honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's okay. We don't always know. It's man, something just feels fucking off. Right. But, as we're probably about to get to, you probably started talking, and once you guys get kind of, tennising, the ideas back at each other, okay, so what's going on? It's not this, I don't know. It just seems whatever. Once you get talking with somebody who cares about you and you care about, it kind of falls out. So you don't always have to already know what's going on. But if you feel like you're in a weird funk, just maybe sit at the damn dinner table or sit on the couch and whatever, just BS with your significant other. So yeah. So you brought it up to Jace, or Jace brought it up to you, and you were very susceptible to it. Where to go from here?
Well, I'm I totally get the shutting down part, and that's if you need to go through that, that's totally okay to go through that. But just know that it took me a long time to even get to the point where I can look at somebody and be here's the tea, here's what's going on.
Right.
And so I just made it a point, and it wasn't the smoothest conversation right off the bat.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. I feel sometimes when you're with somebody who's a little bit more structured in the best way.
Jace is the most growth mindset, awesome dude.
I know, yeah. So I'm
gonna have him on here just so any listeners know. He'll be on here soon.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm very go through the motions, allow myself to be depressed for 2 weeks and not cook dinner. And Jason's like, what do I need to do right here, right now, like to fix this and blah, blah. And so it was like a very like contradicting conversation, but the outcome was good because like it kind of brought awareness that like I was like, hey, I'm sad. And he's like, well, what do you need to do to fix it? I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm sad yet. So, but then
yeah, I wish I knew.
I come back and I'm like, when you let me know, or when you figure it out, let me know, bud.
Yeah, if you know, if any of your Google searches have any answers, just if you could send me that link.
Yeah, but no, he's literally like the like greatest mindset all the time. So
he's a powerful dude.
Yeah, but so yeah, we like took me a couple of days, and then like for him to have a day off, and then I think I came home from work because we have like one day off throughout the week and one day that we're like, you know. So I worked a full day, and he was at home, and he's like, yeah, no, I just like really feel like once we moved in here, things just kind of like plateaued. And so he took that day, and he was like, yeah, I just really had to dig deep. And that's where he like sat down and like he's made, you know, his list of goals and stuff, and then we like communicated, and he was just like, yeah, I think that we really need to like work towards something else and you know, build this life and continue building. And you know, like I feel like we just got so excited on this high of like buying or starting a new chapter in our lives that we kind of forget that our lives continuously keep going even after that chapter. And like
you started chapter 1 and then you're just like, oh shit, we gotta write a book.
we
gotta write a book,
basically.
I think that's the beauty, and that's the thing, that's what life will always teach you, you know. If you really think back, think about the things that you have now. Sorry, you're good. But the things that you have now, you know, there was a point where you dreamt of having them, like they are all you wanted, you know. Like I even like little like this fucking microphone, you know, like when I bought it, I probably obsessed over it for like 4 hours. Like I probably looked at all the different options or whatever it might have been. You got to take time to like enjoy the things you're doing, but then say, okay, what's our next thing we're doing? Because your life is those in between. Your life isn't that moment where you finally have the trophy in your hand. It's getting to the trophy. It's how do I get another trophy? And it's life is a book, not a chapter.
That's a wild concept that like I feel like as humans we forget that, and it's so basic, like meditating, and it's you know, it's not always grasped, but like when you reach like your destination, I guess, like the end goal, the end game, it's like not as fulfilling as you expect it to be. Like it is, and then it isn't, and then it's like, all right, on to the next. Like we're such a moving species, and that we forget that like the movement is like what creates who we are.
It's about the movement. I listen to a lot of Alan Watts, you know. He's a philosopher.
I feel like
he has this thing he talks about, and it was one of my aha moments. One of my favorite things to do is listen to, like I put him on like on his YouTube, and I put him in my headphones. I walk in the backyard and just let the revelations come. He had this thing he's talking about dancing. Like what is a dance? Life is like a dance. To be the best dancer, it's not about getting from here to there the fastest. It's not about a destination. It's to be the best singer, to be the best guitar player. It's not about playing the most notes, the fastest. It's that in between. You know, you don't dance. If you ask a dancer why they dance, they don't say, so I can get from here to there in the most efficient way. It's the in between. Like that's what life is, you know. And I remember I had this moment. He said that, and I've been like working through a bunch of stuff, and it was so revelatory. I'm like, that seems so simple, and it seems like it makes sense, but it can be really a revelatory statement.
That's amazing. I'm glad that you said that. That was super.
Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah, that's Alan Watts. It's like my favorite philosopher. Really? If anybody wants to dive into, if you just ever want to let your mind go, just Alan Watts on YouTube. Just explore him. It's wonderful. That in between, I think. So goal setting kind of keeps that in between alive. You know, like making sure that like. So you guys probably have some sort of, and it'll get better over the years, I'm sure, but you guys probably have some sort of like, all right, hey, next Sunday, let's sit down, let's look at our goals. Or do you guys have anything like that you've? It's something I'm working on with Shay. We haven't quite got there, but we've been talking about that. Like, it's something we're going to be doing soon.
I feel like we need to slow down a little bit to be able to do that. We're both like in this weird, so I would love that. I would love to just sit down and have this like recap of stuff, but you know, when you're like working a long shift, or you know, like I'm sure when Shaylee comes home like from work and you're like, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation, she's just like,
oh yeah, poor thing. She's talking about C. diff, and I'm talking about like existential crises in my yeah, like she just wants to just be like, babe, stop talking about so much intense shit right now. But no, I mean, we definitely we'll find time for it. I mean, yeah, I know I will. I'm sure you guys will too. But it's something that is important.
For sure.
We got to make time when we can. And it's not always like, hey, we don't have the time to talk about it. It's like in passing, like next time you and Jace go to dinner, you guys can chit chat about it casually or whatever, you know, like find times in your relationship to not, well, we need to do this thing this way. If there's something that maybe needs to talk about, if you guys aren't both pursuing a goal right now in your relationship, if you're listening to this, you don't have to be like, how do we fix this right now? It's not that. It's hey, like you ever thought about making a goal? You ever thought about writing down our goals, babe? Like that right there is working. That's getting better. That's self-love. That question right there is just a little nudge. You have more questions like that. They add up. And then finally, if you have time, you know, when we have time in all our busy lives, we can sit down and, hey, let's write out more of our goals, or let's write out goals in the first place, or...
I feel like that's like a very healthy standing point to like either be in or have a goal to be in that situation with your significant other, like to move forward and grow not only within yourself but with somebody, you know, side by side. I feel like that's very important to have that.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Like if you think about it, like saying like, okay, this person doesn't know shit about their life. Like, we don't know why we're here. We don't know where we come from. We don't know where we're going when we die. But same for me. And I'm going to take the responsibility of them, and they're going to take the responsibility of me, and we're going to try to figure out what we both equally think is best for our lives.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like, that's something we should take a little more serious, I think. You know?
Yeah, take it seriously, but also, like, paying attention to yourself. Like, going through that, because like you always know, you
can feel it.
You always feel like which direction you're going or what you need to be doing, or you know, but we as humans like to just, you know, make up scenarios, or,
I know,
you know, or what is it, somebody told me the other day, they were talking about red flags, or like, oh, red flags, I know what I need to be doing, but I'm just like making up excuses, you know. You make up excuses to like not follow your gut, not do what you know.
We love to do that. Yeah,
we're really, really good at that, but it's also a learning experience too when you do that, so
yeah, I think I say justifying your bullshit. I think we really like justifying our bullshit. We oh dang, I forgot what I was saying because my burp. Not knowing, or you don't know what you don't know. I may have lost it. It floated away.
And that happens. I feel like that happens when you try and focus on it too, like solely, where you're like,
I know.
Yeah, and you're like, you're chasing it and it's just running away.
We had, I think it was either me and Mikhail Mobs or me and Jessica, we were on here, and you know, like just getting better at conversating over time, like just the more you do it. But it's funny, you realize you kind of get going and you're like, man, nobody's ever let me like talk for this long. Like it's funny, podcasts I've noticed, I'm like, oh wow, like, because you know, it's a respectful, like we're both eager to say what we want to say, but like me, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, no, just wait, like let her talk. You know, it's we gotta do that. Like it's really, it's something that, of course, I want to just burst out what I'm saying, but you got to work on your conversations. And you notice that like sometimes people don't actually let you talk for this long, and you get to a point where you're like, I don't really know what to say anymore, or I forgot what I was talking about. I was just so excited that you were letting me talk. It's really funny, but you got to be forgiving with yourself. I noticed that I used to do this, and I would trail off and I'd lose my thought, so to say. And I would call myself an idiot, honestly. Like I would be like, fuck, dude, I can't fucking even keep my thoughts straight, or whatever.
It gets stressful though sometimes.
Right. Yeah, but it's like you do it. Everybody I've had on this podcast does it. I do it. Every person I've ever talked to in my whole life.
We're human.
Yeah, it's remember you're human, you know. It's notice when you're kind of giving yourself beating yourself up a little bit about that. So
I feel like it's like losing your train of thought mixed with like a lot of anxiety. You're like when you're like just talking. Sometimes I find myself talking through like not really paying attention, but like knowing what I'm saying, just literally letting whatever I'm saying go.
Right.
And then I like catch myself at the end like, wait, where was I going with that? And then I'm like, yeah, so
yeah, you know,
I get really anxious about it, and I'm like,
I know, and you're like, wait, was I down like a rabbit hole where I wasn't actually making sense?
Yes.
It's so funny looking at, you know, an introspective of just the way that you talk, the way that you know, and we were talking about when you record yourself, you act differently. Like you almost make it okay to talk crap to yourself. Like, oh, like, you pull your shirt down because you look fat, or you're recording yourself when you say something wrong. You're like, oh shit, and you delete it, or like if someone else was speaking and they messed up over their words, you would be like, you know,
delete it.
Delete.
You're wrong.
No, as they're talking. Yeah, you gotta be more forgiving on yourself. It's something we all gotta work on. I think that for me, I would say I know a lot. I would say I know I gotta work on that, or I know I'm bad at that, or I'm getting better at it, whatever. And then I wouldn't actually look at it and change it. So if you're someone who just says, I know all the time.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're like meditating for 30 days and then sober?
Yeah, so I was thinking sober. So, okay, so do you watch Joe Rogan podcast at all?
Of course.
Yeah.
Not super frequently. Jace more so than myself.
Of course. Dude, I love Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he's the shit.
I can't even deny it. Like, it's just the most wonderful community. It's fucking hilarious. Like, there's different memes making fun of people who listen to Joe Rogan every day, and they're just so funny. Like, shit, sent to me.
Because it's like, it's true.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's so real. I am one of those motherfuckers. Have you tried DMT? You know, like, so I was inspired by that, you know, and they have their whole friend group that does that. And I was looking at that, and I really had a moment of, you know, realistically, you know, call it cocky or strange to point out that you want, but like a lot of people, I've stayed in the same hometown. Like I have actual, I would say, small town fame from being a DJ in a small town. Like,
oh, for sure.
It's a weird thing to point out on your own, but like it's something that I generally have. So I have people who look up to me. I have people who do follow what my friend group does.
Yep.
And like it's something that I've like taken a step, and I'm like, okay, like cool. Maybe it's just me being excited about it, but it is kind of like Joe and his friends. Cool. Let's say that. And when it, like, everybody really tried, and like all these people who have never worked out a day in their lives, people who probably have never meditated a day in their lives, because they enjoy Joe Rogan and his friends, whatever, they tried this thing they did Sober October, and like hundreds and thousands of people like lost weight and did all these things, tried things for 30 days, whatever. So like, I don't know. I just see my role as potentially could maybe be that in this, in our area. And like, not that I'm trying to be that, but I'm saying if people are looking up to me, if there's something that I want to do on my own anyway, might as well just do a little extra work, be public about it. My friends are going to do it anyway. Like my close friends, you know, might as well get everybody else on board. So
hell yeah.
I think it'd be fucking cool.
It would be. Super excited.
Yeah. What else do you think we should do? Let's so what would you do? What would be something that you would want to do for 30 days? Like draw for 20 minutes a day or whatever. Like just think of anything. Read, yeah?
Literally so many. I guess I'm like I love just like reading self-help books. Like,
oh yeah.
I
wish there was a better term for it, but self-help, yeah. I feel like a dork when you go to the library and there's self-help. Yeah. You shouldn't feel like a dork though.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
But a lot of monumental moments in my life have been like literally reading a self-help book that's probably super cheesy, but I don't care because so you know, like I would not be here today without reading all of these books. So 30 days of reading whatever
solid
book you want to.
Okay, so that would be cool. You know, that what would be a cool way to
portray that?
Yeah, like so what do you think, like 30 minutes a day, or like at least sit down, or or like, because I think, trying to let me read this many books in 30 days. I think making it a daily habit of
just reading like a couple pages, or
make sure you get some reading done a day.
Yeah,
I think that's enough.
Like, it has to be a time frame, because sometimes if I like set a certain time frame, like I'm at the gym and I'm on the bike and it's like 20 minutes, I'm like, I don't really want to do this for 20 minutes. Like, I'm gonna go do a leg workout anyway. So like when I see that and I don't finish that 20 minutes, I'm like, damn, I didn't even do that 20 minutes. But
and it builds habits with yourself. It kind of like trains your brain in the wrong ways. I feel like like if you continuously not commit to things that you really want to do, I think it kind of trains your brain to like be like, no, it's okay if you don't do that. Like, oh, you want to eat healthy for 30 days? We're at day 17. It's okay. It's okay. You're fine. You don't have to eat healthy anymore. You said you're going to go for 30 days.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
I feel like it like adds up, like after enough of those, just because I used to do that too. Like I would go, 20 minutes was my thing too. I would love 20 minutes on the stair steppers, what I would do. And I would get like, oh, today's a 10-minute stay, huh? Okay. I'm tired. It's like, no, set out to what you want to do. So sorry, I keep getting nasally.
You just talked about allergies earlier.
I know. I'm like fighting my mom's cat, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm pushing my allergies with my mom's cat.
Ooh.
I'm convinced the diet has everything to do with
seriously,
allergies.
100%.
Yeah.
100% believe. Yeah, everything that you put into your body, all the synthetic and fake shit.
The shit you can't pronounce.
Yeah. Totally. Even just switching from eating like no fast food to like home cooked meals is a significant difference. I can only imagine. I like, more power to you for living that lifestyle, because I struggle.
Oh, I haven't been lately at all.
Oh.
Don't worry.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's a struggle.
It's hard. I mean, I still make a million little decisions better today than I did a year ago, Like I used to like drink energy drinks and go to the gas station and eat crappy food and fast food and stuff all the time.
Gimme.
Yeah, it happens, right?
Yeah.
But making like little sacrifices here and there, and not having home cooked meals when you can. I feel like it helped my cognitive function, like my brain, man. Eating fast food and stuff. You think that it just hurts your stomach, but all that shit's connected,
Oh yeah.
It's all.
Your stomach is the pit of your entire being. Like what you put into your stomach, it comes out all of your pores and through your brain and through everything.
Yeah.
And it's sick how it happens like that.
It affects a lot of you. Like so. Did you ever go through a thing where you eating like a lot of fast food? Have you ever gone through that? I've gone through literally like years of like, oh yeah, I eat fast food pretty much every day.
I don't know about every day. Probably when I was like 19 and I was just basically an alcoholic, because what else do you do at 19?
Right. Yeah, I feel like our whole culture is like, well, yeah, of course we're drunk. We're ages 17 through 22.
Oh boy. Yikes. Yeah, so, you'd get those $1.49 Burger King nuggets for
hell yeah.
With fry sauce. That was like Taco Bell all the time. Yeah, that was
But it's easy, right? It's easy, which is what it's there for. Like it's when you're out in a rush, like that's what fast food is there for. When it's like, hey, I got to do all these things, I'm in a rush, or maybe like a treat or something. But it really does benefit when you just try to not be eating that crap all the time.
Yeah.
And try to cook at home.
Oh, for sure. Or more so, just like finding a healthier alternative. Like that has been my biggest, because sometimes I'm too busy and I like don't have time to just like go home. Like I'm home very late at night, and so making sure that like I'm eating something that's like not a burger through, and honestly,
it's easy for you too. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you go through the periods, I'm sure you've recognized this, when you go through periods of time frames where you eat healthy and then you like switch back to eating unhealthy, you're paying for it.
Dude, your body hates you.
Seriously, your body's like, what the fuck are you putting in me right now? I
thought we were done with that.
Yeah.
I built up immunities to those things and made you just permanently bloated. I thought that's what you wanted. Dude, it's crazy.
No, yeah, and it's like your body is like rejecting, like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I told you no. We already went through this.
Yeah,
Like,
isn't that weird? You can eat McDonald's every day, and you almost get used to it at some point, and then you eat an apple or something healthy, and your body just has the shits or something,
Yeah.
and then vice versa, you eat healthy, and you just have one bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I feel like everybody kind of notices that, but it's another one of those things that we're like, I know it's
Yeah.
it sucks. Yeah, I'm working on getting better at food, but I think just keep trying. Like literally just keep. You never fail at this stuff. Like we are so, as a society, we're so addicted to sugar, so addicted to food, and like it's okay. Like it's okay. Like it sucks. Don't be mad at yourself if you realize this. Like if for whatever reason it's the first time you're realizing that you're severely addicted to sugar. Unless you are knowingly eating paleo and you're listening to this and you're eating Whole30, you're fucking addicted to sugar. You're so addicted.
No, seriously.
But it's just start making little things, like if you drink 17 Diet Cokes a day, drink 16 today, drink 16 and a half. Like anything, man. Learn a little bit, make little sacrifices, cook when you can, find some value in cooking. Like, I mean, it seems like you and Jace have, I'm sure there's even togetherness from you, like cooking food, like it just, that creates even stronger boundaries in your relationship, just cooking, being at home in the kitchen,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of value in doing these things with intent,
Yeah. Especially when you're, life's wild, man.
It certainly is, as we're trying to slowly figure it out.
I know. But at least we're trying.
Yeah, trying really means, dude, like trying doesn't mean that you ever really fail. I've realized trying means that you every day, all these little things, all these different parts of your life, if you're not feeling the way you want to be feeling mentally, you just got to be trying. You got to be but to try, you have to understand that you're not a victim to it anymore. You can help the things that you're going through and feel better.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, we've been going for a while here. I want to do a time check for you.
Okay.
Jaycie, thank you for coming today.
Thanks for having
I appreciate you being on the Junkyard Love podcast.
Yeah, this has been super fun, super great. Real
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Which we need more.
Well, and I also plan on, like, I don't have any rules. I don't have a fucking director. Like, I can do whatever I want. This is me talking to my cool friends. So we can schedule another one too if you have more stuff. If there's, in the next few months, if there's something weighing on you, if you meet somebody that you're like, man, this person would be cool, like, just, I don't know, you can come on with them. You can come on with Jace too. That'd be fun too.
Oh boy.
I would definitely want to do. Yeah, I want to do a powwow one with just me and Jace. But I think it'd be fun to have you guys both on here too. Yeah, because people. I know a lot of cool people, and I feel like it's kind of like it's like an honor of mine to showcase cool people to whoever's willing to listen.
Whoever's listening.
Yeah. So,
Well, I super appreciate it.
yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
Well, thanks so much.
All right, guys, have a good rest of your day.